Greetings, greetings, greetings. You are now tuned into the vault. Trust Christian own, not to control everything. Just want to thank you for tuning in live, listening to replay. Always appreciate everybody that tunes in live, listens in the replay. This is the vault, episode 418. Asset Protection Trust comes first. Once again, this is episode 418. Asset Protection Trust comes first. Definitely wanted to say we did a had an excellent what is that work conference actually this past weekend, and we have these quite often all the time, but this was more of a quarterly championship with trustees, and we just had a great time at this workshop to be able to answer the questions and go over the content that we had going on. It was a great ride, so we look forward to this next workshop coming up. It was already requested, when are you going to have the next workshop? We're never in a rush. We actually have a certain number of trustees that we work with over periods of time, so we're excited about working with the trustees that were there, trustees after, trustees before. So we're just going to go over some of the things that we know can take it to the next level, whether it's for your own good or otherwise. And so let's just go ahead and hop straight into it. So this particular episode or this conference was definitely focused on asset protection. When you talk about assets, that's one of the first things or the most important things that people think about is asset protection. Or they think about assets when they think about asset protection. And so for that reason, there were many people that had assets that they need protecting first. If they're in marital situations, having property protected. If they're in business situations, having business property protected. These are the difference makers in uh, people's performance. Is being able to have the correct tools, being able to have the correct education, to have the correct association. We definitely look forward to going over this next workshop with some of the trustees in more of an in-depth capacity, because a resounding at the end of this workshop, we heard we need to have another one. Now, people say, "Oh, well, do you not have often workshops often?" Well, post the 2020 and post the what is that 2021, we were back out doing workshops, conferences. Well, oh man, do I need to tune in? It's episode 418. Do I really need to tune in? Do I really need to listen to all the episodes? I got an issue with listening to all the episodes. We've had people for years and years and years say, I listened to all the episodes before we contacted you. Oh, really? You really listen to all of them? That's what they say. Resounding. Quality trustees that go through the program. So then we get to this point where, are people going through the program, or are people going through and actually getting everything they need, or are they going to half step? Because asset protection is the first thing. That's just the first thing. That's where we are, ladies and gentlemen. That's just the first thing. When do we get past that? But we at least got to get the first thing done. We were reading some stories recently about one of the late great artists, and literally their estate took, what is it, uh, 15 years 15 years to administer out because of lack of planning forward. So asset protection trust comes first. A lot of people say, well, is it for business or is it for asset protection? That's what we would need to know. Well, this conference, this conference was one of those conferences that we enjoyed every moment of it. Just being able to see the responses from people talk about this private insurance stuff. We got elders in the room, seniors in the room saying, man, this stuff is blowing my mind. My mind's going crazy. I mean, it was almost like church in there at times. People were getting the Holy Ghost. You should have seen the looks on their faces. If you all could have seen what Trust Christian in the Vault saw, just looking into the audience at when they're receiving the information and seeing how it's not always that it is that it's new, and it's shown it's going against their cognitive dissonance, where they're in the moment, they're saying, wow, this is new information coming upon me, and everything I've known I've been working hard to do, but this is a different set of information. I would not have been able to get it if I wasn't sitting in this room right now. That's what they qualify it as. So we had a great time once again. You got to see people. People saw it was very engaging. It was very interactive. You still had a soft touch on the room. You still had the room guided. We had plenty of breaks. We had a great VIP dinner. People enjoyed the VIP dinner. There were quite a few people that got second rounds on VIP dinner. So it made it all worth the while. It was worth it again for sure. Uh, in Orlando, it was great. But the conference is centered around that. The conference is centered around asset protection. It was an asset protection conference. So what did you talk about again? Well, we're talking about you being a trustee and knowing specific things that solidify your position. It doesn't need to be a sales pitch on why you need to be a trustee. Quite a few people in the room were already trustees. Let it be told. The room and the environment is for trustees. It's a continuing education program. You don't just have all these online classes now, you actually have the in person classes. That's all it was. But it gives people the opportunity to build those relationships and be able to see that there's another level to it when you're in the closed environment. Oh man, we could talk about it. We could talk about it. The flight in, the flight out, the ticket. Oh man, was the VIP dinner necessary? Well, the VIP dinner, hey, some people like to stick around. How do you hold people together if it's not worthwhile? It was a blast. Coming in live and direct. We're going to bring definitely some testimonials. We're still receiving the data in as is. Data's been great so far, as far as aha moments and people just confirming what is it that we went up there and talked about. But it also comes down to, okay, when you hear it, how do you handle it? How are you absorbing it? And what's so good is to be able to see people's reaction to the information, the education, to see their faces and the questions. People haven't experienced that type of classroom setting in 15 years of quality, being able to have a conversation while someone's still educating and working with them, and someone has that much ability to be the organization has that much ability to cater to the 30 to 40 to 50 families, the families. Oh wow, I would want to bring my kids when I come back next time. Right, because we've had 9 year olds in the room. We've had 7 year olds in the room. We've had 10 year olds in the room. We've had 13 and 14 year olds in the room. We've had 18 and 19 year olds in the room. We've had the 20s in the room. And then we have the 30s and above. So did you slack on getting to the asset protection conference? Maybe you did. Maybe something happened. But people say, well, what did I miss? Well, what happens when we're telling you that asset protection come first and then your private family bank? But oh no, no, Trust Christian Vault. I'm gonna go out and get the insurance from my Rufus Doofus insurance guy. But I still need y'all behind closed doors. Behind closed doors, Trust Christian Vault. We gotta come to you and we gotta come to your team because your team's talking on a sophisticated level. Right. Because our team has over 40, 50 plus years of experience in that type of private environment where they're telling you we're actually, ladies and gentlemen, If the market goes down and you end up the year flat, that's flat. If the market goes down and you end up negative, that's down. But what happens when you're in a market where you have someone that can literally make sure that we're always getting 13, 28, 33 every year, compounding interest? Oh, but I got a private bank. My guy said this, my lady said that. But they're coming to the vault behind closed doors, ladies and gentlemen. We already know this. We're happy for them. We just say, come to the workshops where you can get a lot more of the value out of it. Because then you get to meet the individuals that you're dealing with. And it's not just these guys on the internet selling you some package that they're not still walking with you with. Because it's an education. Wealthy people continue to meet. You don't get into private family banking and don't meet other private family banks. But for some odd reason, people want to operate private family banking in isolation. Maybe shouldn't do that in succession, but isolation. Oh, they're doing private family banking with their own selves. Right. How much are you putting into your private family bank every month? Let's go there. Let's talk now. How much money are you putting into your private family bank since you got your private family bank started? How long is it before you hit the MEC limit? Did your guy educate you or did your lady educate you about the MEC limit? Do you know what the MEC limit is? No, I don't know what the MEC limit is. Well, you're in a private family bank, aren't you, or are you not? Are you contributing to it every month, every quarter, every half a year, every year? How are you doing it? How are you contributing to your private family bank? Because the private family bank does need some type of cash flow or something to operate, right? Right. But they have private family banks. Oh, I'm trying to get into this private family banking stuff. Would you trust Christian in the vault? Well, you got to go through the training program. Go through the training program. Appreciate New York for tuning in live, listening to replay. Always appreciate New York for tuning in live, listening to the replay. Christian at trustchristian.com is the email you can reach out to. Once again, that's Christian at trustchristian.com. Asset protection trust comes first. Why do we need to talk about this first? Is it the most important thing? We could say asset protection is the most important thing. That's why they come to us. Because that's the most important thing. But then we get into the other bennies. But are you in that position? Oh man, it's such a general thing to talk about now. Yeah, I need it. Well, isn't it going to help you in identity theft? Do you have some type of security code, some type of encrypted personality on the internet that is in the form of asset protection and a trust? Do you have your so-called name, your so-called social inside of a key code that now it cannot be locked because there is a verification process that goes through a few steps? So if anybody ever tries to do identity theft, there is a code, a two-phase security process on the internet now. But that means asset protection, trust comes first. Here we go. You ready? It's asset protection contract comes first. You see how we substituted it? We'll say it again. Asset protection contract comes first. Oh, I'm going through the UCC. I'm a own the rights to my birth certificate. I'm going to authenticate my birth certificate because the government created a government trust for me. So the government created a trust for me. It's an asset protection trust, or really they're extracting fees out of your labor. So let's not go there. Oh, the government has a trust for me. It's the Social Security Trust. That's the Asset Protection Trust. In case I get handicapped, then I got funds coming to me from the government, right? Asset protection for its liabilities, right? Right. Asset Protection Trust. Its asset protection contract comes first. Okay. You hear that, you all? Asset protection contract comes first. So on the internet, do you need some type of encrypted blockchain personality or likeness or any type of any type of interest in your quote unquote personal information? Do you need asset protection contract comes first for your personal information? Do you have asset protection contracts in place? Oh no, I'm gonna use the adhesion contracts from the government. That's what I'm gonna use. I'm gonna use the birth certificate because I went and got it authenticated by the who? By the government with a government seal, right? But what happened to you creating your? What happened to the private? That's the government. That's the public. Government and public are synonymous, correct? Legislative and public and all those words are public, right? Right. So how do you protect asset protection? Private contract comes first. Here we go. Asset protection, private trust comes first. Asset protection, private contract comes first. Right. That's what happens first. But do you know how to go into the private and make sure that you're not a liability in the private? Oh, I'm going private trust Christian involved. We going private trust Christian involved. We going private. We in a private, but we still saying it's our trust. It's mine. Asset protection, private contract comes first. That's what the that's what the trustee training gives you. That's what the trustee training at the vault gives you. They make sure that you're in place with the asset protection in the private before we even come back into the public and talk about this public stuff. Oh, I'm in the public. I got an LLC. I got some licenses. I run a company, and I'm the face of the company. Right. But how do you get asset protection? Because you protected in the private first, not because you're in the public. What protection is there in the public? Why do you think you have a license in the public? Because they need to indemnify you on the public side through public people's rules and standards. Well, in the private sector, who created that contract? It's not the public people, it's the who? Private families, private individuals, private people. There's a difference. So the asset protection private contract comes first. Are you ready for that? Are you ready for that training? Because that's what the vault's talking about right now. That's what we went over at the workshop. Sure, it could seem like it goes over people's head. Why? Because it's supposedly so simple that you're just gonna trust Christian, own nothing, control everything, and you're gonna get asset protection. Private contract comes first. That's what you're gonna get. Oh, I don't know if I'm gonna get it for the chief ski. Never that. You got to travel across the country sometime. What happens when the mentor said they were traveling to Turks and Caicos? When they tell you they were traveling to the Bahamas? When they were telling you they were traveling to Luxembourg? When they were telling you they've been over to Liechtenstein? What happens when you go there? What happens when you go to Switzerland? When the mentors say yes, you're gonna go to Switzerland to open up a private family bank in another jurisdiction. So yes, do you have Switzerland insurance policies too that are private, same private family, and it's in a different country? So it's out of each, it's separate. Asset protection comes from asset separation. Now you can see why different jurisdictions. Exactly. That's why. I got a private family bank in America though, because I thought I was doing it good. I heard the drops. So, I heard the spins. So I'm going to go start a private family bank. But is it international? Well, shh, I didn't know that. Shh, that my accountant told me I could do that. My insurance guy didn't tell me because they're not international. Exactly. Asset protection private contract comes first. Oh, we in the private, so let's get back to this. Oh, we gonna do the birth certificate thing because we gonna mix this up because we got a broad audience at the vault. So he say, oh, we got the birth certificate authenticated trust Christian in the vault. Okay, so what you gonna do now? You gonna put the birth certificate in an asset protection private contract? You gonna put the birth certificate in a private or in an asset protection private trust contract comes first? Are you gonna do that? How you gonna take what's in the public and put it in the private? Let's see. The training actually gonna share with you how to be a good trustee even on the public side when you talk about those things. When you talk about being a minister of any type of trusteeship situation. But when we talk about it, we're talking about it specifically from the private side, which is important. We're talking about it from the side that people requested. They want to know about the private side. The public side looks pretty obvious. The private sector is not easy. Why? Because you got to get into training. You got to go through the training program so you can know, okay, this is what private contracts look like as opposed to public contracts. We share with it on the vault, But if that was the case, go to your lawyer and say, hey, we need to get a private contract done and see how they do it. That's how it works. You got to inquire with private minds. Christian at trustchristian.com. Asset protection, private contract comes first. We could mix it up. Why? Because of trusted contract. We could talk about LLCs. We talk about secret. Hold on. Trust Christian, y'all telling me something super duper new. Asset protection comes from contract. Asset protection contract comes first. So when you have a limited liability corporation, that's a what? Contract. When you have a C corp in place, that's a what? Contract. Asset protection contract comes first. LLC. Oh, you told me something new with the trust stuff, but now we got to talk about the C corp and the LLC because they're still what? Contracts. That's how simple it is, ladies and gentlemen. It's not complicated. It's simple. You put these indemnity contracts in place. That's what they like to call them. So when people file these UCC documents, oh, I'm doing a UCC. I'm gonna do the vigilante, right? You're doing a vigilante. That's what you're doing. I'm trying to discharge my debts. I'm trying to discharge my sins because I'm going through a redemption process. They sold me the Holy Biblical through the internet. So I need to redeem myself through the internet. What are you talking about? I need to redeem myself with a number that's arbitrary on the internet that says every citizen owes money, but I don't seem to see them knocking on my door asking for it. Exactly. So why would you concern yourself with that information? Well, it's on the internet. It must be true. Right. Well, let's talk about this asset protection. Indemnity comes first. Indemnity? Yes, when you sign a name, unrestricted or restricted. We're talking about it from multiple angles. It's rather important to talk about it from multiple angles. Because what? Asset protection comes from multiple angles. Trust Christian, no, not to control everything. Christian at trustchristian.com if you want to reach out. Appreciate Vegas for tuning in live, listen to replay. Always appreciate Vegas for tuning in live, listen to replay. Las Vegas, if you've ever been, is a great place to go. Building like crazy out there. Super crazy building going on in Vegas right now. Feel free to get out there. Asset protection comes first, though. People want to get into investments, but then they know, hey, I need to be protected. This conversation doesn't need to be redundant. Look forward to connecting with people through the email Christian at trustchristian.com. We look forward to connecting with you there. Other than that, ladies and gentlemen, we look forward to hearing from you all. This episode didn't need to be super long-winded. We definitely just wanted to go through and talk about the conference. We will have testimonials that we'll post. Those will probably be more of a telltale sign of how the conference went. We were really joyous about how it was. It went really, really well. And we're excited about where we're going. We're always looking to do them in other countries. So when people even talk about, oh, are you going to do it in Turks and Caicos? Are you going to do it in Bahamas? Are you going to do it in Liechtenstein? Are you going to do it in Switzerland? Why would you not go to Switzerland and have a private family bank open, ladies and gentlemen? But oh no, I don't know if that's necessary, right? Because you think it's best to have it all in one place. Asset protection comes from having a private bank. Asset protection. There's so much to say about this topic. Because people, they can literally look it in the eyes now and say, do I need it? Yes, I know I need it. We've had quite a few people say they need it. Right. They don't just want it. They need it. It's like the air that they breathe. They need it. Oh man, I don't know if I need it. Right. And that's why you're susceptible to identity theft now. Do you hear that? Your business. You can be sued out of assets. What you own, you can be sued out of. Asset protection, trust comes first. Trust Christian, own not to control everything. Appreciate everybody for tuning in live, listening to replay. We've always had people that have said, okay, quite a few people through the years said they got this together. We're there. We're excited to move forward with everybody from the workshop. Everybody after this episode, Christian at trustchristian.com is the email you can reach out to. We look forward to hearing from you.